This is RMS Orion, built by Vickers Armstrong in Barrow-in-Furness for the Orient Steam Navigation Co and launched in 1934. She was one of the most innovative passenger ships of her age, a landmark in the evolution of the modern liner. She mainly ran on the route between the UK and Australia, but also cruised to destinations like the Scandinavian fjords and the Mediterranean. She was visually remarkable because she had just a single funnel and a single mast, both set at a distinctive raked angle to give the impression of speed. At the time, this was extremely unusual, but having a single funnel saved money in maintenance costs and created much more space for the passengers. It was, however, incredibly difficult to achieve and was only done so by overcoming major engineering challenges. She is painted in the distinctive colours of the Orient Line's livery, with a green waterline stripe, buff hull and white superstructure. This was entirely new and broke away from the traditional black hull and red stripe. Inside, the design of her public rooms did away with the wood-panelled lounges and grand staircases of traditional passenger liners, modelled on grand country houses, and introduced a new Art Deco style, suited to the tropics and an ocean-going life. Everything was light, uncluttered, and stylish. She was also built of new shipbuilding materials. She was the first liner to use chromium and bakelite extensively throughout the ship to make surfaces more resistant to the effects of sea air. She also marked an important step forward in passenger comfort and safety. She was one of the first British liners to have air conditioning, a radical improvement for vessels travelling in the tropics. This is noticeable in the innovative design of her ventilation funnels. Traditionally, these would have been tuba-shaped, pointing towards the bow and exposed to the onrushing airstream, which forced the air below decks. Orion has some of these, but most have a horizontal intake fitted with an impeller. Her staircases and walkways allowed the passengers easy and safe movement around the ship. Enormous promenade decks kept cooling breezes flowing. Her boat decks, now unencumbered as there was only one funnel, left a huge area clear for games and gave her passengers uninterrupted views of the sea. And to help improve the view, her boats were raised above eye level. Even the passengers' comfort on deck was considered. Note the aerodynamic deflectors designed to divert the oncoming breeze over the passengers' heads. She was also one of the first liners to have an open-air swimming pool, but even that was not enough. She had two, and her main mast was removed in the design process to make this possible. The pool was filled with constantly running seawater. Orion was the first ship that made extensive use of fire-resistant paint and a new sprinkler system. The firefighting system had an alarm and indicator panel on the bridge. A tank in the engine room supplied the water and was refilled with seawater by automatic pumps. The model clearly shows the clever design of her cargo elevators, a novelty that would become a crucial requirement for a passenger vessel of this size. The ship was fitted with numerous derricks to winch aboard heavy loads. Her wooden gangway ladders are of a distinctive 1930s design and are clearly shown with some pride. All of the cabins had running water, long mirrors, and plugs for electric hair curlers. The first-class cabins had new spring-balanced, pressure-tight windows, with hinged ventilators instead of ordinary portholes. Even her launch was unique. It was performed remotely by the Duke of Gloucester over the radio from Brisbane in Australia to Barrow-in-Furness, 12,000 miles away. At the time, this was described as an act of magic and epoch-making. After a peaceful start to her career, she served as a troop ship in World War II. She swiftly went back to her role as a passenger liner when the war ended and was sold for scrap in September 1963. By then, the excitement of her new design had passed, but it must always be remembered that, at her launch, one writer said, "Such a departure from common practice, such a refusal to accept precedent for convention's sake, shows great confidence and courage. The managers of the Orient Line are looking far ahead, and it is possible that the Orion will prove to be the model on which liners of the future will be built."